All right, so I'm just the idiotic, stupid dog. And we're getting so highbrow, so whatever you say, professional, that we can insinuate or incisor commercials into what we're doing. We're going to be doing these Larry David ripped off Seinfeld for his material takes. Hey, it's Larry's thing. Like it's the Plantagenets saying we ruled for 300 centuries or 20 centuries or 13 centuries. Now we want, or three, maybe it was 3 centuries. I don't even know. 4 or 6 centuries. Then we can come back and rule again. Larry David wrote those, so he could plagiarize them if he wants to when, he goes and does his own show. So, but the thing is, the man is doing his doctoral thesis at community college, which I don't even think that's a thing. I'm his assistant, but his whole doctoral thesis is predicated upon the fact that Larry David was ripping off old Seinfeld scripts and premises for, his Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm bullshit, whatever. Just look for it. We begin it. It's going to be a playlist. That's how great we are. That's how nuanced we are. We're like Formula One drivers. We could zig, we could zag, what's going on. We're doing a commercial. It's embedded. The commercial's embedded in what we're doing. No one even has to care. No one even has to know. It's like it's like a hematoma. You don't even know it's there. It's a big giant thing, but you don't even know it's there. Anyway, so this is what we're going to do. I was in another room. The man was in the room. When the man's researching his Larry David things, he gets blotto. So I'm like, dude, you cannot research Larry David shows. You can't watch Larry David shows and drink copious amounts of bourbon and pass out. He passes out. He wakes up every few minutes. It's a new thing. He's, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's, So anyway, that's the way it works. That was a pause we had to make right in the middle of production. I mean, where the hell is the producer? Can't, whatever. The producer can't keep better control of this bullshit. The one good thing is when you see behind the fourth wall or the fourth rail, or whatever it's called, you discover that these are just one-offs. This take, there's a few bullet points sometimes. Sometimes there's not. Usually there's not. It's a rambling, stammering, stupid thing. But the one thing you got to remember is when we're creating this is it's unrehearsed. It's one take. We very rarely pause. We very rarely have any notes. When we have notes, we, whatever you call it, we admit it. We acknowledge it. So anyways, I was in another room, okay? And I heard this grumbling and this rumbling. I heard this commotion. I thought I started sprinting because to me, in my mind, it sounded just like the man was wrestling one of those anacondas from the Florida Everglades, one of those evasive or noxious species. And he was like getting all coiled up, going to get ready to be choked out. Or, as I came around the corner, my legs slipped out from under me because I'm such an old dog and I'm like half crippled. I rose to my feet. I said, God bless, when I get around the corner, the man's going to be being raped by one of those Dave Chappelle man-on-man rapist things that Dave said was down there in Arlington or wherever it was in Texas. Texas has the ice storms. They have the mass shootings. They have a ridiculous situation where people are informing on their neighbors about abortion. And now they have man-on-man rapists roaming the streets doing man-on-man rape. And they can't even curb it. They can't even put a pause. They can't even curtail the man-on-man rape that's going down there in Texas. It's the Panhandle, the southeastern parts. Mostly it's centered in Arlington, the home of the man-on-man rape artists, according to Dave Chappelle. Anyways, when I came around the corner, lo and behold, the man was trying to put on his church socks. I said, buddy, what the hell's going on here? I thought you were getting raped. Or maybe you had an anaconda was trying to choke you out, coil you up, and choke you down and eat you alive. I mean, what's going on? He says, I'm trying to put on these freaking socks. Why do they make these socks so hard to put on? He's got socks. When he rolls them up, they go up to his hip. I was like, my God, those are like Spanish, in the old days, the conquistador socks. You don't need socks that roll up halfway over your kneecap up to your thigh. I mean, God bless, what's going on? He couldn't get him on. They were like trying to bring up a steel coil over his big fat ankle and his heel. He couldn't hardly bring him up. He was fighting. He was nude except for he had a pair of briefs on, thank God. And he was trying to pull his socks, his giant, they're rich man socks that he got out of his deceased dad's bureau drawer. These are rich man socks. You don't even try to put them socks on. Back when these guys were rich, people were thinner. They didn't eat so many calories. They didn't eat so much food. They weren't hog jaws the way we are today. And the man was like, bullshit. And I looked at him. It was the most disgusting thing I ever seen in my life. He was trying to pull this sock up. He had rolled it down like a donut so he could try to roll it over his big, fat, bloated, heart indication of heart disease and pre-diabetes and salt retention, big fat ankle. He was trying to roll it up over there, up to his big giant fat calf. And this sock, believe me, you could go out there and you could use this. You could use this to try to catch animals. You could try to put on a hoop and catch some butterflies. This sock rolled up halfway up his thigh, but he couldn't even get up over his fat ankle and his heel. Anyways, when I got up on the man, he was all squished together trying to pull that up, and he didn't have no T-shirt on. It was just his briefs. His briefs were hidden. It just looked like a total flesh thing. He's so much belly fat and hip fat and, waddle fat and disgust fat and groin fat. He didn't even look like he had briefs on. It was so wretched, and his fat was all coiled up like an accordion because he was compressed. I looked at him, I said, I could try to count those fat rolls like I'd count, like a cross section of a tree, count all the rings on a tree and find out how old you are by trying to count your fat rolls. It's disgusting. Do you understand? I was worried. I'm an old dog. I thought I was going to have a stroke trying to get around the corner. My old hip dysplasia kicked in. I fell down on the linoleum trying to make the corner, and I come in and I expect you to be battling an anaconda or one of them Arlington man-on-man rapists. Lo and behold, you're just trying to put on your effing socks. Oh, my gosh. That's a new thing, too. We're going to try to eliminate, or not eliminate, but really, really reduce the profanity. We're going to try to become, what you say, more, not PG-13. We're just trying to see if we can do it without the profanity. I don't know. This is a dog take that didn't make much sense. But bottom line, this really happened. I was scared. I heard the man wrestling. He was a wrestling and a wrestling. And I was wondering, God, who's attacking the man? Who's he fighting in there? When I come around, he was fighting his own fat. That's what he was trying to do. He was trying to he was trying to fight his big, giant, bloated, disgusting fat belly, and was all accordioned up. It was all squished together, and it created like 56 rolls of fat in his belly, and his pecs looked like they were like bean bags. It was so disgusting. I was like, I could count them rings like I count the ring on a tree. I cross-section the rings on a tree to know how old the tree was when they chopped it down. And the man looked like something that had been chopped down. Oh, God bless.